How you doing today, man?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Real
First, I want to thank you for taking time to speak with me. It is such an honor to speak with one of the greatest male vocalists of my generation.
Oh
You
man.
know, and I'm just honored. Before we get started, I want to just ask how you and your family been holding up with the COVID-19, everything that's been going on.
You know, I feel bad saying this, but we've been awesome. We've all been together.
Hmm.
Um, Kids are home from school. Our parents were here for most of it. They just left. They when things opened up, well, they ran back to their house so quick. They wanted to get home. They wanted to be free.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
we had family dinner every night at a time when we
Uh-huh.
that's normally reserved for holidays.
Uh-huh.
It you know, we being home, I mean, we have everything we need here. We really didn't need to. We're homebodies anyway. Um, Now for the kids, not so much. Particularly our older daughter, who's at college, she misses her friends. She misses being at school and having, doing classes online. To
Uh-huh.
me, seems like that would be awesome. Now I don't have to
Uh-huh.
go. I can just do it at home. But I can
Uh-huh.
see, because she's biology and pre med, that
Oh,
be,
oh, you just froze on me.
I don't know what happened.
Okay. All right, you good? You
Yep.
good? Okay. Uh, um, I want to get into the good stuff of your new album that's dropping tomorrow. But I definitely have to talk to you about everything that's been happening on with the world, with the recent killings of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Rashad now. What's been going through your mind? What is your feelings toward everything that's been happening?
It's been terrible. You
Uh,
know, I think that we were all under just a little bit of an illusion that things were so good now
mhm.
that, when you're the age that I think I'm probably a little bit older than you, but remembering what it was
Not
like.
that much. Not that much. You look mad young. You look mad young. Not that much. Not that much. Yeah.
I remember what it was like in the 70s. I remember
Uh-huh.
what it was like in the 80s, in the 90s. I can remember getting pulled over. I mean, as recently as August, being pulled over in my own neighborhood driving an expensive car,
Uh-huh.
that a police officer pulled us over just to see if I was the person that was supposed to be driving that car. Now, it didn't get past that because he realized who I was,
Yeah.
but my wife not being black and now
Mhm.
learning that she is black now that she's with me.
Right, 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 right.
It was something that was foreign to her, and I had to explain to her
Uh-huh.
that, what, this is what it's like to be a black man, and it's
Uh-huh.
sad that that's what we have to grow up with. But at the same time, I think that now we're seeing that because of social media. I remember when Rodney King happened, it was pretty
Uh-huh.
much on the news.
Yeah,
It was the
yeah.
news, but now the whole world, because of social media, can
Uh-huh.
see
Uh-huh.
that things aren't as good as we thought they were, and that we still have a ways to go for
Uh-huh.
our humanity to begin to be the thing that is what's most important. How we interact with one another is how our civilization is going to stay afloat.
Yeah,
If you look back at Rome and Constantinople, it wasn't war, it was the way they interacted with one another that
exactly.
ultimately led to their downfall. So
Uh-huh.
I'm hoping that if there could be, and I'm not saying there is a silver lining, I'm not saying that anybody needed to die, but if there is a silver lining, that hopefully things will change from
Uh-huh.
this moment moving forward.
Yeah. Well, we're not waiting for change. We are forcing change, and
Right.
change is taking place not just in the United States, but all over the world.
All over the
And
world.
it's sad to say, it seems like you would thought racism had kind of drifted away, but it never drifted away. It's just being filmed more and more.
Right.
So, it's being exposed more and more, so it's really, really sad. And I know that you have probably experienced some other racism acts, as being a black man and especially an artist. Because I'm as a successful artist as yourself, I'm sure a lot of I would say white men or Caucasian human beings don't believe that you should be successful in a black man and doing what you're doing and driving what you have and living the way you live, but it's a new day. They have to accept that we are here. We're not going nowhere, and we are a big part of this society you know
True.
um,
And I
yeah.
think that now more than ever, it's difficult to hide who you are.
Ooh, man.
It's very
Yeah,
difficult to hide that
yeah.
now. And I think that moving forward,
Uh-huh.
uh, more than anything, we can identify who those people are.
Uh-huh.
And once they're called out for being what they are, it's up to them to
Uh-huh.
decide how what impression they're going to leave.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think that's the microscope is on them now, where the microscope has always been on us, that, you know,
Yeah.
that we had to
Yeah.
be a certain way. Now, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we're gonna see what's really real.
That's true. And I know you have young adult sons. Do you worry about them being stopped and what the outcome would be if they're ever stopped by an officer, you know, police officer?
I think that what we have to do as parents is also to educate those that although something may not be fair,
Mm-hmm.
although something may not be the exact way you want it to be, that it's hard to say this, and I don't want to get any flack for it, but you know, it's sometimes it's better. And this isn't anything to just turn the other cheek
Yeah.
and what you got to do and
Yeah.
stay alive at the same
Yes.
time. But that
Yes.
doesn't give them the right to act
That's
however
right.
they want.
Yeah.
You know,
I know
I,
exactly what you're saying. Yeah. I
it's a
agree
hard
with you.
thing because I know that you don't want to have your manhood uh, breached by anyone.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
at the same time,
Yeah.
we just have to be smart. We all have to be smart, and I think that's what
Have
I'm
to
trying
use
to say.
wisdom.
Be as
Exactly.
smart as you possibly can, so that you can stay as safe as you can. And that's whether
Yeah.
it's with the COVID, whether it's when you get stopped, whatever. To just be smart, be
Yeah.
mindful of your surroundings and who you're dealing with, and
Yeah.
respectful as much as you possibly can. And hopefully,
Yeah.
if you're giving respect, you'll receive respect. I hope that, and I
Yeah.
think that now, I think that is going to change. I think that things are really. I am positively looking towards the future.
I'm hoping so. Um, let's get into some good stuff. This is your 20th studio album. I want to say that you are a real singer. I would never, if I was some of these other artists and if I was on a show with Brian McKnight, I would have to sing first. And that was just the only way. I get it and get out the way because there are only a few artists that can sing flat-footed, like yourself, like the Brian McKnights, the Joe, the Carl Thomas, you know, singers like that, you know, but you're in a league of your own, man. And this is your 20th studio album. It's called Exodus. It's dropping tomorrow.
Right.
And I can't believe this is your 20th album, man. How are you feeling? Are you excited?
Well, yeah, this is actually the 16th album of original music. I have 2 original sort of Christmas albums and then 2
Mm-hmm.
great hits that have original songs on them.
Right?
So I think 20 is a really good round number. I'm excited. I'm also excited because this being the last one I'm going to do, I'm really excited for what comes next. You know, my wife and I.
Wait a minute. You just dropped a bomb. And you just kept right on going, wait a minute. You're not retiring from doing music, from
I'm not
recording?
retiring per se, but
Okay.
this may be the last album of original music that we'll get. Yeah.
Okay. I'm hoping not. I am hoping not. Do you have any collaborations on this album?
Not collaborations in the sense that there's not someone doing a duet. I
Okay.
worked with a couple of producers, with
Mhm.
Tim Kelly and
Okay.
a couple other guys. I did a cover for the first time in a long time. I very rarely talk about how much Sting has influenced me, and I wanted to do something to show him the homage that I haven't shown him. And I covered his song "Fragile" because I think that song really speaks to what I'm trying to talk about as far as how we treat one another.
Yeah.
That it's
Mhm.
fragile what we
Mhm.
have here, and let's not take it to the point of breaking. You know, we
Mhm.
can bend. We have bent. We've been bending,
Mhm.
but let's turn that thing around and
Yeah.
get back
Yeah.
straight again. You know.
Um, you have had so many hits, man. I can't even tell you how many songs that you've hit that just like every time I hear your voice, it's something about your voice that makes someone pay attention. When I heard One Last Cry, that's a favorite of mine. But when you hit us with Never Felt This Way, you hear that at every wedding. I'm serious. You can't even go to someone is singing that at every wedding. Someone is singing that song. Did you know that these songs had such a big impact, or was it going to have such a big impact when you wrote them and put them out?
No, I don't think I've ever known, and I don't think anybody can tell you that they know proof
Mm-hmm.
positively that something
Mm-hmm.
that they create is going to have any kind of effect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've always been the kind of person that once I'm finished, it's not up to me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
If something happens, if it's successful, if it becomes something, it's going to be because somebody else liked it and gave it to somebody else. And then
Right.
that person liked it and they gave it to somebody else. So they heard
Right.
it on the radio and they told somebody. There's going to be a certain amount of words about that. At that point, it's kind of out of my hands. I wish it could be me just create it and say, world, here it is. And I'm
Right.
giving it to you. Unfortunately, I think as kids, you think that's the way it works. Once you get into
Right.
this business, you realize that it's a
Yeah.
business and
Yeah.
you gotta pass it to this person, they pass it to that person, and you gotta hope
Yeah.
that on some level it's going to get where it needs to get to. And then it's gonna have to resonate. So with the song, I never felt this way. No, because it being just an album cut, it was hard for me to fathom that someone would go past a single and delve deep enough into a record to find something. But I think at that time in '92, I think that's what we still did. We still looked to see who was playing, who wrote it, who produced it.
Yes.
We've
Yes.
gotten away from that.
Yes.
Back then, that was a
Yes.
throwback to earlier times when we all
Yeah.
did that.
People gravitate to our era. I say 90s is my era. I don't know about your era. I say 90s is my era.
The greatest era ever, by
People
far.
love that. They really love that, man. And not just Never Felt This Way and One Last Cry anytime. I can still listen to Let It Snow. I don't have to wait to Christmas to listen to Let It Snow. It was just so, the vocals were so crazy. And the good thing about you, man, besides you having a white beard, people may think, they may equate that to age and not wisdom. I met you, I was managing SWV at the time. We met you at the Soul Train Awards in the lobby. I was with Lily, and she was about to have a nervous breakdown. When after I introduced you to her, you was real cool. You talked to her. She walked away. I thought she was going to faint. That was Brian McKnight. You still get that type of reaction, man, of your music. What do you think is about your voice that really resonate with so many people? You have a diverse fan base, and everyone can't say that.
I think it really comes down to the people that I ripped off every day. If you want to be like Stevie and James Ingram and Mike McDonald and those guys, and you try to be like them, and then you find your own voice. And I think in order to be successful in this business, you have to be at least a little bit reminiscent of something else
Yeah,
that was special.
exactly.
Marvin didn't happen, then Stevie doesn't happen. If
That's
Stevie
right.
didn't happen, then a lot of other people didn't happen. And
Yeah.
because of those people, James Ingram and
Mm-hmm.
Billy Joel and Kenny Loggins and
Right.
Aretha and Shirley
Yeah.
Murdoch, all
Yeah.
those people, then Commission and the Winans and
Take
all
six.
those things, Take
Oh,
Six,
yeah. Oh,
wrapped
yeah.
up into, and then
Mhm.
all the jazz I listened to. I always wanted to believe that as an artist that I had a responsibility to not just pigeonhole myself into one kind of thing.
Mhm.
Because that is the definition of artist for me. Because the artists that I love, you'd hear, Anita Baker at the Grammys do "God Bless the Child," and you're like, wait a second, that's not like her records, but she can do that.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up. And I
Yeah.
think that when you have an extensive wealth of knowledge of something, that only can shine through. And I'd like to believe that's why people naturally gravitate to me, because it is reminiscent of Donny Hathaway, of all those things that they loved before.
Mhm. It's funny that you mentioned Philip Ingram. I'm sorry, James Ingram. James and Philip are blood cousins.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Wow.
yes,
Yeah.
yep. So I really love his voice. But did you have a specific inspiration to make you complete this album? Was there anything specific that got you going to say, let me get this album done?
Yeah. So since I met my wife, she
Mhm.
has been the subject of every song I've written.
Wow.
And the funny thing about that is I'd never written anything about anyone. I'd never cared about anyone. I didn't know love on any level till I met the love of my life when I was 42 years old.
Wow.
And I never believed in it. I know I wrote about it
Mhm.
extensively. I know that I was the love man from Borneo when it comes to music, but I was really just faking it. I listened to a lot of songs, and I knew a lot of music, and I could take from a book or I could take from a movie. This is the first time in my life where actual personal experience is coming out in the music. And it's
Mhm.
all because all I have to do is look at my wife, be around her, and she is the essence of everything that I want to say, everything that I want to be. And it's a wonderful thing to wake up every morning with the most beautiful woman who ever lived, the
Yeah.
most the most incredible invention that man has ever come up with. And
Yeah. Wow.
I cannot say enough about how she has changed my life, how much she has brought life to me,
That's
and
awesome.
how much I want to spend every second of the rest of my life with her.
Everyone needs someone like that in their life. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Would you consider yourself a perfectionist? I feel like you are when it comes to your craft, or your music, your artistry. You seem like you are just a perfectionist. Everything has to be just right. Are you that way? I know.
I am that way in the sense that I want it my way. The guys that play in my band will tell you that there is a way to do it, there's a way not to do it, and then there's Brian's way. Because my
Wow.
way may be a little bit different.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
very specific. The way I write melodically and from the way I play my chord changes, it all fits in a very neat puzzle. And
Uh-huh.
if you deviate from that in any small way, and it may seem small to people who then have to play it, that it changes the meaning of what I'm trying to say.
Uh-huh.
It changes the feeling of what I'm trying to say.
Uh-huh.
In that sense, yes, I am a perfectionist, but that doesn't mean that I don't allow mistakes.
Uh-huh.
So if a mistake is made and it's an honest mistake in the music, then I get it. We can correct that. But if
Yeah.
you're just playing what you want to play because that's what you feel, then we have a problem.
You got a problem.
And you're probably
Absolutely.
going to get fired. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. The versus battle has been real popular these days. I don't know if you're familiar with it. They've been doing that on Instagram.
Sure.
I don't even see you doing something like that. But if someone asks you, would you participate in a versus battle? Who would you even entertain doing one with? Do you have a particular artist that would make sense?
To me, the versus battles aren't necessarily about going up against each other. It's
Yes.
about the
Celebrating.
celebration
Yes.
of music. And
Mm-hmm.
there's several artists. I think Joe and I could do a great versus because I'm
I would
such a
say, yeah.
fan of his, and
Yes.
he's such a fan of mine, and
Yes.
we could definitely go back and forth talking about each other's music. A not popular choice would be R. Kelly because he's had so much music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we probably can't do that, but from a musical
Yes.
standpoint,
Yes. Yes.
nobody short of Babyface, just for volume of music, but as an artist, I don't think anybody could go up against R. Kelly. But there's just so many of us from that era that have so much music, that
Yeah.
have so many musical things to say that it wouldn't
Yes.
matter to me who it was. I think that folks, it's just great to see people celebrating music
Yeah.
at a time when music doesn't seem to be celebrated the way it should.
I would love the next time I talk to Joe, hopefully it'll be soon. I'm going to tell him you and Brian should do a celebration of your music because there's nobody. I'm telling you, man, I'm sitting here talking to you, but you have one of the greatest voices in this world. Nobody sings like Brian McKnight. No, I don't care who it is. Nobody cannot copy your style, your uniqueness, your tone. And I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say that you also sung on the You Will Know soundtrack with all those guys.
Yeah, so I produced that, and
Yes.
I did I sang a couple of lines on there, but
Yes,
it
you
was
did.
more fun for me because this is the first time I think that all of those guys from Gerald and Keith Sweat
Yes.
and
Yes.
Boyz II Men and everybody was in the same room. And
Yeah.
the funny thing that they didn't capture was I was sitting at a piano in the room where everybody was. We were just playing everybody's songs. Mint Condition was there, so we
Wow.
played Pretty Brown Eyes, and
Yeah.
then After Seven was there, and we played
Yeah.
Ready or Not, and they'd sing
Yeah.
it, and it was everybody in the same room. And I think we have to get back to that kind of camaraderie. To me, and what I've been proposing for the longest is instead of all of us being on tour and I come to this city this week, you coming next week, the next guy's coming the next week, we should all be on some sort of Motown review where people can have one show where they see everybody. You sing your hits, we sing some stuff together, and we do it that way. It would be so amazing for people to see something like that. So they don't have to budget their money trying to see everybody when they can see everybody at one time. I think, but that's what I remember that session thinking, this may not ever happen again, and it hasn't.
I remember that song because there was just a few artists that stood out to me, and I think it was you, R. Kelly, and Joe. And it was the different tones and how you approach the song is so crazy. I don't know where you get your singing from, um, um, but your approach is crazy. And to hear you say you might retire, I'm hoping that that was just something you wanted to say, and that's not going to happen
Well,
because
it's not really retirement. It's that I think that I've said everything I need to say as far as original music is concerned. And it's funny because I have friends of mine that are calling like, so you're not writing for yourself anymore. Can I have those songs that you're going to write that,
right,
I'm
right,
not sure. So
right,
that's another way to go, writing songs for
right.
other people. There's so many other things that I want to do. I want to wake up every day and my wife and I just do whatever makes us happy. I want to be defined by what makes us happy and not by what we do.
If somebody wanted to do a Brian McKnight biopic, who would you pick to play Brian McKnight? If you could pick any up and coming artist, any newer artist, who would you pick?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm familiar enough with the young acts to know who that would be or how young that would have to be. It depends on from what time.
Yeah,
It depends on where they start. If we
yeah,
started with the first record, I'm not sure. I think we'd have to find an unknown and
to
just
do that.
just let him lip sync.
Yeah, look, that'd be hard to fill those shoes. Would you be even interested in doing a biopic?
I don't think that my story is unique enough and interesting enough. I mean, I don't think that I was necessarily plagued by some deal. I know when you think about an arc of a character as it goes through,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a simple songwriter, man. I write songs. I mean, it depends on the angle. I've never been so over the top in my life that people. I don't think people would necessarily find that interesting.
I
Because
don't.
I only ever want to talk about the art of
Right,
songwriting or the
right,
art,
right.
you know.
I think the mystique about you, and you've been so low key, I think that's the interesting piece. And how everybody can't write. You don't just write songs, you write hits. There's a lot of people that write songs, but a few people write hits. There's a big difference. You write hits. When you write a song, it's a hit. And you've written so many classic, iconic songs that will outlive both of us, forever and ever and ever. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people, songs, you hear them today, you bop into it, or you remember it today, but next week it's out of your mind. And that's the difference between you and a lot of artists. I want to ask you before I let you go, what would the Brian McKnight today tell the Brian McKnight just getting started years ago? What type of advice would you give him, knowing what you know?
The only advice I would say to him is that when you're 42, you're going to meet a woman that's going to change your life. You need to wait on everything till then. Don't waste your time doing anything but counting the days until she shows up, because that's when you're going to start to live. That's when your life is going to become everything you want it to be, period. That's,
Wow.
I would say that, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I wish that I had waited to live until I met Leilani.
Wow. 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 You talk like you just in love, and you just feel that positiveness coming from you, man,
Yeah,
and that's a
yeah.
great thing.
The thing that people need to realize is that when you meet someone and all you want to do is give of yourself to them, then it's
Uh-huh.
no longer about you.
Uh-huh.
I was the most selfish person on earth. It was all about me from day one. And a certain amount of that you have to be. If you watch the Last Dance documentary,
Uh-huh.
Michael Jordan wasn't trying to make friends. He was trying to win.
Yeah.
And in my career, nothing came before what I was trying to do. Nothing did. Um, and what I would say to myself back then is that go ahead and do this, put your head down, work, but know that when it comes to your love life, when it comes to meeting someone, she's not going to come till you're 42. So you can focus solely on the things you need to focus on,
Right. Right. Right.
knowing that she's coming. I wish I had known that. A lot of my life would have changed for sure.
Wow. Wow. How did you meet your wife? Did someone introduce? You're making me want to. You're making me want to know, how did you meet? I mean, because that's a dream of everyone, to be happy. You seem like you are really happy.
Oh
So
yeah.
how did that meeting take place?
It was the most chance thing you can possibly imagine. I invested in a fitness product and I was at this fitness convention.
Wow.
And my wife, who is a pediatric a pediatric neurophysiologist, she was taking a hiatus from her job, and earlier in her life, she had been a Hawaiian Tropic model. So she was at that convention signing calendars for Hawaiian Tropic.
Wow.
Yeah, so my wife's from Maui. She's Hawaiian.
Okay.
And
Okay.
she didn't even have to be there. I was there in the afternoon. She had done her signing in the morning, but for whatever reason, she came back that afternoon and she walked down the aisle I was on. And when I saw her, was the first time I ever felt my heart beat.
Wow.
It's the first
Wow.
time. I
Wow.
didn't think it existed. I was like, I must be from another planet.
Wow.
And I said, I don't talk to God much. And I told him that day, I said, listen, I know we don't talk on a regular basis, but I really need a solid here, man. I need I need you to, to see your way clear.
It got real. It got real.
Listen, it got real.
Yeah.
If she would have walked past me, I would have spent the rest of my life trying to find her. For
Wow.
sure.
I want to say, man, that I'm one of the biggest fans because I love music. And I love real singers. And you don't meet real singers often. There are a lot of people that can sing, but then there's people that can sing. You can S-A-N-G. You can sing, man. And I'm happy for you. I'm really excited about your new project that's dropping on tomorrow. I hope that you will continue to make music, man. And to be honest with you, man, you still look the same. You haven't aged a bit. You still look the same. So you must be doing something right. You know, sometimes the business can take a toll on you if you allow it.
Right.
And I don't see that in you. You look the same as you just started out. So something, you eating right.
You know what's funny? If you look back to 2012, as I look back on the time before I met my wife, I started to look that way.
Wow.
It is only because she came into my life and I had something that took control of my life that was different in this industry that can eat you up and spit you out.
Yeah.
That she takes care of me, man. She makes sure I eat right. She makes sure that I have the right stuff in me. You know, she knows about nutrition. She knows everything. If I sit here and told you all the things that my wife is, you wouldn't believe it.
Wow.
I mean, she's a former pro surfer. She's a doctor. She's a nutritionist. She can cook like you cannot imagine.
Wow. Wow.
That's
awesome.
It's unbelievable. And I'm not even going to tell you about the bedroom because this ain't that kind of show. But let me tell you something.
You complete. Your wife completes you. You complete.
All you got to do is go on my Instagram and look at her pictures. You understand that
Wow.
she ain't no joke at anything.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That is so awesome, man. I'm so happy for you. Will you be touring once everything kind of calmed down?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not saying I'm retiring. I'll tour. Right. I'll do shows. Maybe not 150 a year like I've been doing, but you know, I'm not going anywhere. I think I've said everything I need to say from an original music standpoint at this point. And I'm not saying that may not change. I'm just saying that right now.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the adventure that we're about to go on together.
That's great. That's great. Last question, man. You've been seeing so many signs and everybody's saying Black Lives Matter. What does that mean to you? When someone says that to you, what does that mean to you? Because everyone has a different interpretation of what that really means. And some people don't really know what it means. So what does that mean to you?
You know, when we don't use punctuation, people can take things and run with it in ways that it wasn't meant to be meant. For me, I think it's just a statement. It's not saying that other people don't matter. It's not saying that this is the only thing that does matter. We're saying that at this particular time, when it doesn't seem like to some people that they do matter, that they do matter. That Black lives matter.
Exactly.
Not exclusionary. It's not. It's inclusive more than anything. And I think that the fact that we have to try to explain that is the reason why we're in this mess in the first place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I thank you so much for your time. I am not going to let you stop making music. People about knocking on your doors. How did you find my said, look, man, we need another album. We need another album, man. It was great talking to you. I want to congratulate you again on the new project that's coming, and I wish you continued success on everything that you touch and do. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
All right, take care.